Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
I'm James McComb, reporting live from home in my bathrobe and slippers. Tonight, we're talking Dunkin' Polar Peppermint Coffee. Gene's here with the latest. Gene, do you copy?
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
Hey y'all, it's time for Rolling Dice and Taking Names. In this episode, the guys review Resurgence and the Mistborn deck building game. They pick the top 3 tile laying games to have in their collection, plus a new taste buds. This time, it's Mountain Dew Voodoo. Who do? You do. Do what? You remind me of the Babe.
Hello and welcome to Rolling Dice and Taking Names. This is episode 337. We are the world. My name's Marty.
I'm Tony.
All right, so did you ever watch the documentary that came out about the making of this song?
I think I've gotten bits of pieces. I need to go back and actually watch the whole thing. Of course, this is, Quincy Jones passed away age 91, a pioneer leader, everything to the music industry, everything.
Yeah, so anyway, if y'all haven't watched the documentary and you grew up in that era, it's really interesting to see how all the stuff that had to go on behind the scenes to get all these people into one room to record this. And they got behind the scenes footage, and that they went to like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It was after an award show that they got together to be able to do this because they were all in the same city at the same time.
Right. All because of his genius. Let's face facts.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
They really wanted Michael Jackson to come in. They weren't sure whether he's going to do it and stuff. And there's this thing with Bob Dylan was there and he felt totally uncomfortable because everybody was singing so well. And Bob Dylan has that unique voice. You know, there's the part in the song where he does his little part, and how they showed how they got him to do that and all this stuff. So it's a really interesting documentary. I can't remember what streaming service it was on. I think Netflix, but I'm not for sure.
I think it's Netflix.
Quincy Jones, yes, when he passed away, what a freaking icon. Going back to working with Frank Sinatra and then going for decades working with so many artists, up through Michael Jackson and beyond. Holy cow, what an incredible career. And the number of names and artists that he touched along the way during his life. I mean, obviously he's a GOAT when it comes to music producer.
Oh, absolutely. Composer, music producer, and being able to direct the people where they need to go, and get them notoriety. You need to go here. To see the genius. And I mean, he's credited with probably one of the most renowned albums ever. I know it's an argument, but Thriller. All right. I mean, that put Michael Jackson on.
I don't think that's an argument at all. That's one of the most iconic pop albums, of all time. I didn't even realize till he passed away, the number of people who worked. I didn't realize that he worked that close with Frank Sinatra. I didn't realize his career went that far back. I
didn't either. I thought it was, getting it with Michael Jackson and Diana Ross and all that. But then you go, like, to your point, he worked with everybody, and he could just see and just had the ability to push these people to the right direction. And, you could say that, hey, if it weren't for Quincy, some of these amazing people may have been passed over and never seen. But, hey, yeah, it's truly, I mean, I'm sure, at age 91, he wasn't doing a lot, but I'm sure he was still kind of like people were going to him, getting advice, things like that. And I will admit, this is one of these sad things. I thought he had already passed away. So, you just lose track.
Yeah, you sure do. And when I heard the news, I guess it hit me that, oh, that's right. I guess he had not passed away. It was the same thing. It's not one of those people that you think about, that frequently because obviously he was 90 something, probably wasn't doing that much, but he's also one of those behind the scene guys. The name, but he's behind the artist. And like you said, if it wasn't for him, probably many artists and many songs would have never been made because of his influence.
So leave it to Rolling Dice and Taking Names to bring out someone else who recently passed away that you may have missed, but you need to go out, see the documentary, as Marty pointed out, see what all he did. If you're not aware of it, just go type a little Google thing, say Quincy Jones, who was the man? And you will scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. So there you go. So anyway, so once again, unfortunately, we went over to your house recently and played.
Wait a minute, you said unfortunately.
Yes, I lost again.
Well,
unfortunately,
you make it sound like, oh, I had to go over his house and play some games.
Well, that is not what I meant by that. It was unfortunate that I went and played and lost, but yeah. So we got to put, what did we decide that we were going to call it? Not hegemony. Hegemony.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Someone pointed out in the Discord, oh my gosh, here we go again with a game name. And I forget which one they were talking about, which one we couldn't ever say previously. But anyway, we got to play that again. Once again, you have my attention for probably 4 of the 5 hours that we played.
We switched it up, right? So first game, I played working class. I got to jump over to the capitalist side because it played totally different. You played middle class, which is a mixture of capitalist and working class, and jumped over to got to play the state. So we got to see 2 totally different factions and how they work.
And in our show notes behind the scenes here, I said some of my red is off the game. I'll read off the candy cane. Read off the candy cane for this game after the last review where we just went on and on about it, because after having played the state, I felt I did not have a good feeling any longer, a great feeling about the game. How did you feel?
No, I liked it just as much. I think this playing the capitalist side was a whole new game dynamic and what you had to do. Playing as the working class, it was like, oh my gosh, I got to make sure at the end to have enough money to be able to buy food. Whereas the capitalist, I got to get that engine going to make sure I have enough supplies to sell in order to generate capital. But I saw you playing the state, and I do feel the state of the 4 is the least interesting to play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I felt like, I don't want to say it was on rails, and I'll admit I didn't win if it was an easy side to play and you would be able to, but I did feel like I was more, okay, you've got to do these events or you'll be punished. And the way you get punished, you lose your victory points that you're trying to obtain because of how the state gains victory points through legitimacy, right?
Right.
Basically, I was down of all the actions. Of the 5 actions, I only get 3 really that I could explore. Mm-hmm. Now I could bypass the event and just suffer the consequences. Right. That's true. But that felt like there was more on, okay, I've got to do these events, so I got to make sure they're part of it. And then second, I also felt like for the voting side of it, it was like, okay, how do I want to try to drive the policy to help me score points on my agenda? And when I looked at that, it was like, okay, these are way far off. There's no way I'm going to score these. So I just throw that out the window. And I'm like, okay, now how am I going to get these victory points? How am I going to drive up my legitimacy? It just felt like, okay, ask the same questions each of the 5 rounds, see if I can do it and move forward. It was still a good time. Mm-hmm. I will say that. But overall, yeah, I did not enjoy playing the state as much as I did the middle class.
Gotcha. I'm surprised it yet took us 5 hours. Again. Now, we did have a new player, but Nate's a pretty sharp guy. He knew the rules, so it was not because it was a new player playing the game. I'm not sure why it took that long. There were no interruptions. It didn't feel like 5 hours because we were moving at a click, but then you look at the clock, it's like, oh, look, that's how long it took.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that at the end of the round, if we all would just quickly get through our processing, we were always walking through that end of round processing of making sure we paid the right taxes, paid the right amount, paid it to the right people. We were very cognizant of that. And I think we were checking and balancing. And I think it wasn't that we were doing it slowly. We were just very literal or very direct in what we were doing. Methodical. Thank you for that word. I appreciate that word. Yes. So that's what was taking so long. It wasn't the actions. Good gosh, no. Well, maybe there was a few pauses, like when something got taken out from underneath you, but other than that.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think this is definitely one of those games, it's going to stay on my shelf, but it's one of those that you'd only want to probably pull out maybe a couple times a year in special events. Hey, let's get together and do this. Kind of like, a big historical game, an 18xx game. I throw that into that pile of, hey, you guys want to get together and experience this. I think that if I wanted to do something that gave me this really unique experience, and if I was sitting this beside Prime Minister, I'd probably go to Prime Minister first because it plays so much quicker.
And I think with this game, after I'm playing the state, I wonder if you can just play it with 3 with the state being in automatic mode, because I never felt like I was doing a lot to help drive the game, I mean, I'll admit, behind the scenes, I was trying to do things to you to try to slow down your juggernaut of production. But I couldn't get the middle class and the working class to get on board with me. And I was just like, guys, do you not see what he's doing without saying it, you know?
But to be fair, working class won. You know, I didn't win the game. So, I mean, I came in right behind him in second, you know, by 3
It was
points.
tight.
It was a tight game. Well,
yes, go ahead with your quote.
Okay, so this was funny, y'all. It's when you play a game like this, you're mimicking an economic model, right, of a country. And so the jokes just flow. And a situation happened yesterday that some transactions were being made over the course of one round. And once it was done, there was a realization that Nate said, wait a minute, can we just state what just happened here? The capitalist side sold phones or luxury goods to the state for $90. The state turned around and sold those as exports for $30, later buys them back at $50 and then gives them away to the middle class. I went, oh my gosh, that is perfect of how the state works.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, you can go into all the governments and talk about all, you know, how the government does stupid stuff constantly throughout the years. But one thing, well, I will say, I don't think I had the right to export. I never exported, so I don't know where I think he just drew a correlation.
Oh, okay, maybe so. And
yeah,
to be fair, it says the capitalist sold phones to the state for $90. That wasn't your choice. I actually had a card that said, sell these phones for $10 a piece, because you would not have wanted to do that, because was that the round where you had to take a loan out?
Yeah.
And this was the first time we had to go through this thing called IMF, which kind of reset the state, reset the state of the board, because the state didn't have enough money and had to take out a loan, and all the policies got totally reset, which actually helped me out, because the one policy on not taxation, labor.
It was wages.
Wages dropped to its lowest. So I was paying the lowest wages possible, but didn't never change my prices, which is really what helped me in that mid game.
Mm-hmm. And it was the 5th card. So in that round, you played that as the 5th card. I was set up to play everything off to make it happen. And it was your 5th card played. And I had two things happened in this game that really just pissed me off. You did that after I had everything set up, and I knew I was in good shape. And then you did that, and I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me, right? You had this little card that you would play, and you did it. It was brilliant play. Well done, sir. And then the other thing that pissed me off was I had one of my event cards. Well, 3 things pissed me off in this game. I shouldn't have played this damn game.
The list gets longer and longer, y'all.
The list gets longer, yeah. The second thing that happened was I had an event that said you needed to provide education, and I had to go buy it from someone, right?
Yes.
That's how this works. This is how that game works. The problem is, before it got to be my turn, middle class and then, working class and middle class bought up all the education. They bought up all my education that I produced, and all of the education. I think you produced some.
I produced some,
if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And they bought it all up. There was nowhere else for me to get education, so that suffered an event for me where I could not do the event. And then the other thing that was really torquing me off was the cards. And this is what I think what really licked the red off the candy cane. Uh-oh. The cards I kept getting were the same freaking cards. There's duplicates in there. Yeah. And they were mostly around influence. Hey, for every one of your agenda policies that matches, get additional influence cubes. None of them were matching. So now I got to burn these cards, which was fine, which you have to do the events and do the other actions. But I'm like, the rest of them were useless. I was like, okay, where are these cards that Bert in the first game played that allowed him to get all these little tokens?
Right. And so, yeah, what he's talking about, y'all, there's these tokens that the state has that, what do you call them? What's the pegs that you're moving
Legitimacy.
up? Legitimacy tokens that you're trying to move up, which is ultimately your victory points at the end of a round. those get reset at the end of each round. But if you have these special tokens, they increase at the beginning of the round. So they start out higher than what they normally do. And in the game that we played, Bert had a ton of those to help generate victory points. And then I guess you couldn't find them in your deck, the cards that gave them to you.
They wouldn't come up. They weren't coming up in the event deck or any of this other stuff. I was like, what the freak is going on here? What kind of game is this? So anyway, still fun. 3 people. I think the state is kind of one you could easily toss away.
Yeah.
But still, great experience. 5 hours. See if we can get that down a little bit. But I do agree. It's a good, fun game. But yes, it's not as high as it was on my ranking now that I've played state.
So it's still as high. You did have a sour experience. I think you got a good point. I'd like to play it maybe next time with just 3, kick the state out, and then play it that way, see how it works. I assume it should go quicker. And then if the state's not as fun and nobody's playing that one, then that kind of eliminates that one.
So, well, appreciate you having us over, and we'll talk about another game we got to play later in the day because it took a while to get to that point, and I had to leave fairly quickly. I do want to talk about one, I'm a member of, it's been around for a while, this Envoy group that goes and supports various conventions, supports the publishers and all. And I recently received a game from them called Trekking the World. It's a second printing, and this is a very light game when it comes to similar to Ticket to Ride. I mean, way lighter than Ticket to Ride, where you are trying to move your piece around the board and you're not collecting like majorities or anything. But the reason why I say Ticket to Ride is because you're gaining a card to do some actions that allow you to move on the board that then allows you, if you are in a specific area, a continent. Okay.
Did you say a specific or Pacific?
Yes. Specific continent or the Pacific Rim, or thank you very much. I appreciate you for that. It's going to be one of those days. I can see I've been slurring my words already. But so you move, if the card says move to, you move to, and you happen to be in the continent that matches the bottom, you get a cube that you place as a souvenir on your suitcase. And by filling up the various rows on your various columns on your suitcase with souvenirs, you'll get victory points at the end of the game. Also, you will be gaining money that you can then spend that money to take tours. That's the theme of this. You're exploring the world to take tours, which have victory points at the end of it. So you need to be able to generate money, move throughout the world. And those are 2 of the ways. You also have cards that allow you to get special in-game scoring at the end if you happen to be in the city when they are displayed as well. What's unique about this, I played it with some friends. They enjoyed it from the simplicity of the teach to being able to try to strategize the various moves that they needed to make, and that they were never hampered other than by money. Money is the tight resource here in this game. But what's great for small kids, and the reason why I'm bringing it to our audience now, is it's out for the second print. It can teach world geography. And heaven forbid we know about our world geography, right?
No, I agree. So I'm looking at the map now. I don't see the picture of the second edition, but I've heard a lot about this game. This company, the publisher Underdog Games, has also made Trekking Through History, what I've heard about, Trekking Through National Parks, which I believe is a recent game. Yeah, like 2019, 2020. Oh, here's Trekking the World second edition. Yeah, so let me see what it... Oh, yeah. So it I do see the update to it. No, I think you're right. I mean, it's funny, on BGG it is listed as educational, which 100%. If you got kids that want to see the world, I mean, I know it helped my kids when we played Pandemic, when you see the different cities, but this one's even more realistic, right? Plus, I see there's a lot more cities on the board than what there are in Pandemic too, so that's cool. Right.
And it helps them, problem solve of how am I going to go over here so I can go do a tour or doing the event from the standpoint. The components as a whole are top notch. I mean, Underdog Games, the board's amazing. How you store all the tokens, the double layer suitcases for putting in the cubes. And there's even these special tokens that you collect as you cover up the souvenirs. Like you got frequent flyer miles that allow you to go to the airport. You've got where you can advance the run, or you can double your money. There's more strategy here. We called them the Google cubes because they allow you to gain additional souvenirs. And I like the fact that, you got to complete the columns. So you got to plan your movements to visit the right continents based on what's coming up with the itinerary cards that are out there. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that's people get near the holidays. This is, let's see, this is what, ages 10 and up? Oh, shoot. I'm thinking, like the community at BGG says, 8 and up. This is a good game. Different than Ticket to Ride of collecting cards and being very repetitive with that. This has a little bit more strategy, but I think your family can easily get into it.
Cool. A few episodes ago, we reviewed Pagan from Capstone Games. I said this is just an amazing 2-player bluffing game that I've enjoyed. And I've been playing it at work and a friend of mine, because we're now able to get it done in an hour. And we recently got 3 expansions to the game. And it's just basically additional cards that can be used for the hunter or the witch. And each one of these expansions, they provide a deck list for incorporating the cards and using them. And so we started seeing how they work, and we see that there's kind of a theme to each of the expansions, but it's one of those that now that there's more cards out, this is almost like an LCG at this point, where we're wanting to take all the cards and build our own decks based on the new cards, the new abilities and everything like that. Really getting better at playing the game. Especially on the witch side where the bluffing comes into play. Early on when I was playing this game, I was trying to, as the witch, trying to bluff, and it's like, ooh, it's one of these 3 villagers. Can you figure out which one it is? But the thing is, the longer the game goes, the momentum shifts to the hunter, because he's able to go through the deck of the villagers to see who is not the target of the witch. So what we've discovered is, at some point in time in the game, the witch must make that decision. I'm all in on this villager. I'm going to expose who it's going to be. I just have to outpace what I need to get done to get the ritual done and keep them from being able to do it. The past 2 times we played, he did that, then I did that, and the witch played much better. So this is just one of those games like Netrunner. The more you play Netrunner, it's like maybe the bluffing needs to stop. I need to focus in on something. All right, Tony, I'm doing this, probably letting you know there's a big agenda here, but I can't waste actions trying to bluff anymore. I got to go for the win. That's what happens with this game. Okay.
It's a great 2-player game. I mean, I'm glad, it'll be interesting to see how the expansions are going to continue to help the game. I hope they keep coming out with them, right?
Yeah.
Because I hope they get that big following.
What we're hoping for next year, or what's coming out next year, is going to be new villager cards. Those cards in the middle of the table that you place your workers to do things. There's those coming out. So we want to see how that changes the game too. So for sure, I'd love to get with you and play it again. I know you've only played it a couple times, but just especially to try some of the new decks and new abilities. I also want to tease something else too, another 2-player game. After you left last night, Bert left also, and Nate wanted to hang around. He said, you got a 2-player game? I said, well, yes, I do. Osprey Games just came out with a game, Battalion War of the Agents, which is from one of our new kind of favorite designers, Palio Mori.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like he's one of these designers. Every time we play one of his games, we tend to like it. Blitzkrieg, Libertalia, Ethnos, that guy. So it's like, oh yeah, Osprey coming out, a 2-player war game where it's kind of mimicking a miniatures war game or a historical game, but instead of miniatures, you've got these cardboard tokens that you use to create units. And it has this really interesting action economy where you're spending order discs to get your units to go in to fight, attack, and stuff like that. But the beauty of the game is it only lasts like 30 to 45 minutes. So it's a really quick game. And last night was kind of my learning game. So I hope this week, if you get to our game night early, I'll bring this and we'll get it on the table and see what you think. And we could talk about it next episode.
Well, that is the plan. Hopefully I can get there. Well, I'm glad you were able to get that and then learn. So my teach will be a lot quicker. And then I'll also go out and read the rules. I think that helps a lot. This watching the videos, I've been, doing some of the videos, but I think you really need to supplement those videos with the actual rule book.
I've made the comment on Twitter. I said, I'm going to try when we cover a game on this show, I'm going to do it without a video. I think we should judge the rule book as part of our review on how well it's written. If I need to supplement a rule book with the video, then that rule book isn't very good.
I agree with you. You're absolutely right. Rule book, and then okay, something's not making sense here. They didn't cover something. The setup, I don't know what these pieces are. Absolutely.
Right.
Because, and I will admit that, sometimes a video can definitely speed up the setup, which is one of the things I like to use the videos for, is making sure I get the setup right and I'm not forgetting something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
but
true.
Nothing pisses me off more than a rule book without a picture of all the game components.
And it's interesting, I'll be honest with you, as there were a couple points in this game where we did have to reference the rule book, and it was like something wasn't clicking, and we kind of had to, go back and forth on some stuff. And in fact, in a game that we're going to review, we had to, a couple times in the rule book, we were referencing the rule book to make sure, are we really understanding how this works too? So I think a well-written rule book should be part of how we talk about a game. And last thing for this little intro segment, you brought me a drink last night for us to try. We're kind of late on this one, though.
Because we kept waiting for the zero, and we can't find the freaking zero. I don't know if Mountain Dew Zero Voodoo is a thing. I'm sure I think I saw pictures of it, but I could never see it in stores. I never found it. Matter of fact, I seldom saw Voodoo in the store at all. So I was kind of like, okay, what happened to it here? Why are we not getting it? So maybe we were just in a drought in our area where the trucks didn't want to load up on Mountain Dew Voodoo, and they just want to stick with the basics of, Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Cherry Pepsi, Mango Pepsi, Pepsi with no caffeine, Pepsi with lime. Oh, wait, Mountain Dew, Code Red. So, yeah, let's get over to some taste buds. Taste buds. Two incredible stuff. Taste buds. Two incredible stuff. Taste buds. They're just a bunch of. I don't know what it is. I haven't even gone out to try to spoil it to figure out what the flavors are yet. This is one of those things where, hey, I don't want to know. I want to taste it.
Unfortunately, I got spoiled, so I know. So I will not say anything, and we'll see what you come up with.
All right, so here we go.
All right. Hold on. Gotta crack this can open. Ooh, spilled out everywhere. All right, here we go. It's good. Don't like it.
Taste any different than anything else they got.
I wish this was zero, because I can tell it's one of the things I'd like to finish. It's not overly. Right. Is it fruity? I can't say.
It's not.
I know what it is.
It's not really
so
fruity. I don't think it's really that fruity. I mean, when I think of Spark and I think of the other ones, Code Red, I'm not getting that. It's got some aftertaste to it. It doesn't taste clean to me.
Mm-hmm.
We're clear. This is why we don't have a video of making money at various food tastes like the guys from Jolly or Mythical Morning or any of those other guys. So, is it a blueberry thing?
It's not.
No blueberry.
There's no way I would have guessed this, because I'm not even sure I know what this even tastes like that it is.
All right. What is it?
Pink fruit candy. Yeah, that's the look I had too. I don't know what pink fruit candy is.
Kind of like Starburst pink strawberry chewies?
Is that it? Are they trying to, because they can't use the official name, it's something else? Oh, okay. So if you Google pink fruit candy, what pops up is Starburst. So is this strawberry?
Well, pink is strawberry. Yeah.
I mean, does it have... I don't know if that has a strong strawberry taste to me.
I don't think so. Yeah. They say they launched it in September with zero. Never saw it. So, yeah, who knows? But it's a software produced on a Mystery 3. This year's pink fruit candy flavor draws inspiration from iconic Halloween flavors that gives your Mountain Dew fans the festive sip that for all spooky season. Whatever. All right. One and done. Move on.
Well, I appreciate you getting it for me. When I saw what the answer was, it's like, I know there's no way I would have gotten this anyway. I will say it's pretty good. I don't know that I get a lot of the aftertaste. I would finish it if it wasn't full sweetness. I'm just so used to non-sweet drinks that I just can't get over it. So yeah, there you go. Mountain Dew Voodoo. Have y'all tried it? In fact, I know some of you have in our Discord channel. So now we've tried it along with you. Let us know what y'all think. Tony, we talked about in our last episode, Kinfire Chronicles Knight's Fall. The second printing is now available for those who want to go and try it out. This is the big cooperative campaign game for 1 to 4 players from designer Kevin Wilson. And Tony, I think this is one of those perfect games to get together and play with your families for the holidays. You have this big box with all these pre-made 21 quest folios. And here's the thing, they sent us a copy of this game so we could check it out and see what it looks like. And it looks amazing. It's a huge box, and you've got these nice sectioned areas, quest 1 through 21. You just pull out the one you want to play. Quick setup, plays in 45 to 60 minutes, which to me sounds like a fantastic time for family and friends over the holiday. So you can get together, you can pick a character, start building your decks, work together, start to try to play through the quest campaign. And I've heard that the story in this is just really, really good.
Yeah, I was looking at the old Kickstarter as you were talking about this. And I mean, my gosh, there is so much. 1,200 cards in the game. Over 1,200 cards to help you play that adventure. I agree. I mean, you know, you're sitting there, you're full of turkey. You don't want to take a nap, you know. You got the family there. They're going, what are you going to do with them? You going to break out, maybe, you know, a quick playing game? No, let's get them engaged. Let's do a little storytelling. What happened to back in the days when cavemen would tell stories about the recent hunt? You know what I'm saying? That's what Kinfire's going to do for you. Marty and I love it when our games tell stories after we finish playing. And that's what this is. Do you remember when this happened? Kinfire will bring that to your gaming group. It'll bring it for your family. It'll get them hooked on something. And then when you get back together with them come Christmas, hey, pick up where you left off. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, and I always love to any games where you can grow your characters. And in this, you can lock over 200 actions, including skills, magic, items, weapons, and spells in order to customize your deck. So this game is replayable because you can play as a new character, pick new items, do a totally different character build. And again, like I said, the storage solution, everything is taken care of so you can quickly pack it up, put it away. So I like quick setup, quick takedown, and something that plays in a very quick time. The reason why there's a second printing of this, y'all, is because it was so extremely popular. They sold out, they had to get it to the printers and run again. So it's now a perfect time to get as either a gift for yourself or a gift for your game group to play together these 21 epic quests. This is Kinfire Chronicles Knight's Fall, available now.
So in 2022, a game called Resurgence, designed by Stan Kornowski, came out. I think this was this on Kickstarter or GameFound or something like that?
I believe it was, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, our good buddy over at Portal Games, Ignacy, we can call him that, even though if he may not admit.
You mean Ignacy or a good buddy?
Exactly. Ignacy or a good buddy. He may not call us, but I call him my good buddy Ignacy over there at Portal. He loved the game. He's picked it up, and we got to play it just recently, 2 years later. When you see the name and the theme of this, that you're survivors in a wasteland, you're like, oh man, I am going to be fighting for stuff. I'm going to be having to do all this cooperative. You know, how am I going to feed my people? How am I going to fight off the zombies? Am I going to be doing bullets and that kind of stuff? And nope, this is a straight Euro. Let's call it what it is.
No, it is. I mean, I understand why he picked it up. It kind of has that 51st State feel, right? It has that kind of post-apocalyptic feel. And you've got an area on the board where you're going to be taking some of your tokens and assigning them to areas, kind of like a worker. It kind of is a worker placement style game. What's interesting, though, is that you, before the round starts, assign secretly where you want your workers to go, which areas of the board you want them to go, because there's 3 different colors that you'll assign your workers. And then after that's revealed, those workers will have to go to those certain colored areas. As you go along, you get the stuff that you need, which is honestly, a lot of resource management in this game, right? There's a lot of resources you're trying to collect, use those resources to spend, to upgrade. And one of the parts I like was actually your player board is you're unlocking rooms on your player board, which gives you additional spots for your workers to be able to go because that's on your own player board.
Right. So you're allowed to pull out so many, chits, tokens from your own personal bag, and based on the level of the compound you've built, which you can upgrade over time. So that's good. So you'll be able to pull out more. And we all know it's very important to pull out more in a worker placement style game. You always want that extra worker.
Right.
So you're looking towards that. But what I found interesting from this game was the fact that when you're pulling these chits out of the game, you have one hero token.
Out of the, you mean out of the bag?
Out of the game. I said out of the bag. Thank you. One hero token. You have some laborers in the game. That's what you're starting with 6 laborers and a hero, which is randomly assigned. So they have some special powers. And then there are rangers, scholars, and builders. And based on that board that you're putting out or your own player board, only certain people can go in those certain locations. So the workers can only go where there is a worker assigned or that symbol, and he may be able to construct a part of your compound. But it's going to cost him more than, say, a builder. It's going to cost him 4 nails. The worker, the laborer is going to need 4 nails, and the builder can hammer better, so it's only going to cost him 2 nails. So that's part of the thing. And if someone beats you there, then guess what? You're out of luck. Oh, no, you can go there, but it's going to cost you more when you go there. I did like that, Marty. You're not blocked out of a certain location. It's just going to cost you more. Mm-hmm. But you cannot duplicate where your tokens go. You have to be cognizant of that.
So the board itself is broken out into zones, and you also have to be cognizant too, is that once you place a worker in that zone, you can't place any other workers in that zone. But each zone is made up of different types of areas. There's called the metro area, the harbor, and the compound, which is your own player board. So when you assign your workers at the beginning of the round, you're assigning them to one of those 3 spots, metro, harbor, or compound. Then you reveal, then you're going to go to those different spots on the board. And each zone on the board may have metro and harbor areas in there.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to, when you're in certain zones, because the big part of this game, and I'm skipping past the survivors, hiring additional people to get which are the additional tokens that can go in your bag. There's the big kicker is missions. This is where those victory points come in big time, because at the end of the game, does it matter how many survivors you have?
No.
Mm-mm. Does it matter how much of your compound you built? Well, yeah, kind of.
Oh, kind of gives you victory points. It gives you victory points, yeah.
There you go. So it's all about the victory points. So that's what you're looking at here is these missions. And the missions are, hey, I've collected X amount of resources. I get to turn these in and I get something special from it.
Right.
And the survivors that you're buying or you're bringing into your compound have ongoing effects that can give you that combo capability where like, hey, I went and collected food this time. Mm-hmm. Oh, this survivor says if I collect food, I get additional food. Oh, and if I collect additional or I collect fuel, then this fuel will then give me some more ammo or bullets. So you're looking for that type of synergies and combos to come into play.
Yeah. So when you talk about contracts and stuff, obviously there's a spot on the board where you can go get missions. I said contracts, but it's missions. That's very common to a lot of Euros, like achievement cards. I need to go claim those achievement cards. I get them, bring them over to my area, try to fulfill those achievement cards, give you the victory points. So that is a very common field to it. I would call this kind of like a bag builder because these survivors that you're trying to get to add to your bag, you can build your bag out however you want, such that when you go to draw from that bag, you kind of know the distribution of the types of workers that you have in that bag.
The other thing these missions provide you is during the upkeep phase, you'll be able to collect from those missions again. All right. Completed missions, you will be able to collect the various resources of that's on the board. Like I was in this city, I completed this mission. Now I get to get meds. And if I've completed multiple missions in these zones or these areas, I will get meds, I will get ammo, or I will get fuel or
food.
or bread.
Yeah.
So or food. You kind of, so you want to be able to, you don't want to just go in one area and get all those missions. You want to spread out so that you'll be able to collect those in upkeep. It's a way to increase your resources. And once again, resources are how you complete missions and build stuff and get survivors and all this kind of fun stuff that's a basic part of a Euro.
So what is it that stood out to you about this game that felt unique? The thing that I liked was, I do like the idea of, typically in worker placement style games, is as you're playing a game each round, when it comes to you decide where you want to go. There is that forethought that you have to put in at the beginning of the round of pre-assigning where you want your workers to go. And you're not sure where everybody else is going to be going, because this is done behind a screen. And as soon as that screen revealed, you are looking around the board to go, oh gosh, am I going to be fighting over certain areas with other people? Like you said, you can go to a place where somebody already is. It just is more expensive to be able to go there. So that's one thing I liked. I also like the idea of building up my own personal board, my own compound, by unlocking rooms, which gave me more workers and gave me additional spots that I can assign workers. So then I knew that if I assign workers to the compound, nobody's going to be able to block those. And a lot of those locations on my own player board, especially the higher levels, were better than what was on the main board.
I agree. I mean, everybody's compounds are the same, but how you build your compound out may be different than how I build and how I want to strategize around the game. I've always liked these types of games where the assignment phase is, I can look around and say, okay, I think Marty is going to want to build more of his compound, so he's not going to go to that zone. You know, so when we're all going behind our screen, assigning our workers, I feel more confident in being able to place things there because I can see maybe where you're going. I like that capability, and I like the hidden aspect of it, that sudden reveal, and you see, oh man, this stinks. Because one thing we didn't even talk about is one of the tracks, what we call the leadership track. As you advance up the leadership track, because there is a is it majority, or like if you are in the metro zone or the harbor zone or the compound zone, if you have the most total in your workers, your laborers, your heroes, your scholars, or whatever, and you have the highest total, you will advance in that leadership row. All right. And that unlocks various things as you progress up that. Imagine that you'll also get victory points. Whoever is the highest will get the most victory points at the end. So that's another thing you have to be cognizant of, is where people may be going or what they're driving out and what they want to unlock. But I like that hidden aspect of it.
Which is also very common in a lot of Euros, these types of tracks. Whoever gets the highest on the track gets victory points. So there's a lot of little things that feels very common with this style of game, with the uniqueness of that secrecy of those workers being assigned, building out your own bag full of workers. What do you want them to be? And there are rankings. You have the hero that can go anywhere. So, and then you have the specialist that can go anywhere a regular worker can. So there is some hierarchy to the types of workers that you can get.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that there is some culling going on. You can retire someone because they've been overworked, they need to rest, so you unclog your bag a little bit. Okay. Now the only negative that I had was your special power where your laborers could do anything or whatever it was. They were like the Uber laborer. I don't know. I just felt like that was a little strong, but I mean, it didn't make you run away with a victory.
No, it didn't.
It was just frustrating to me.
Yeah, so I had what was called the librarian. It says you may use a laborer as any specialist of your choice. So I didn't really care what I got in my bag because they were interchangeable, where you guys were having to like, crap, I really need a builder, this type of laborer for this thing that I want to get done. Me, it's like, I don't care. I can use this guy over here, that guy over there, which did make my planning a lot easier over the course of the game.
And then there's another one. I didn't have this one, but there's one called the Mystic, which I can see the power of it. You may switch one of your tokens between any of the areas on your assignment board. So if you see someone has heavily invested in the metro area and you see that there's no way I'm going to win, you can then move it somewhere else. All right. And then you suddenly now have majority in the leadership. You know, that was kind of a special. But so, I mean, overall, this was a very simple Euro game to teach. It didn't give you there's zombies attacking mutants, so it's not going to put somebody off who doesn't like those games.
There are mutants on the board, though. They kind of and they move around. There's also end game objectives, directive cards that you'll get some additional victory points. That's a common thing too. I will say that I know this feels like, oh, is this kind of a 51st state type of game? I don't know that I would call it that. It's not really an engine builder style of game. So don't feel like this is like, oh, this is just that style of game. So why do I need to try it? It is different. It is not in the 51st state universe. I don't believe so. It just has that post-apocalyptic feel theme-wise. But it is definitely, when it comes from Portal Games, more of a kind of straight Euro. And I will say that this is a 90-minute Euro. This is easily under 90 minutes, even with 4 players, which is another thing I really like about mid-weight Euros. It doesn't stay on the table too long.
No, and I do, with 4 players, I didn't have any problems with it. Fast playing, easy to teach. So I'll give it that. Rule book, straightforward, easy to understand rules. I didn't have any issues from that standpoint, because I had to do the teach. And it was, like I said, I like it when it's hey, in this rule book, I'm going to flip to this page, summarize it for y'all to understand. And I was able to do that. And I like the fact that there were explanation of all the various actions for the icons. The iconography was very straightforward, but sometimes you get these rule books where they say, well, we think these cards are only the ones that people aren't going to understand. And then you get tripped up and you go, well, why isn't it? Oh, son of a gun, they didn't explain this card. It's all explained in the back for you.
Yep.
So that is Resurgence from Portal Games. Over at miniaturemarket.com, I hope you're going over there daily, because what they are doing is they are doing their countdown to Christmas right now. And we're already, at the time of this recording, on November the 10th. We're at day 45. So there's plenty of time to get over there. Every day you need to head over to miniature.com. Click on the
miniaturemarket.com. You said miniature.com.
Oh, miniaturemarket.com. Thank you for correcting me.
How about
I appreciate
using
that.
our link, as our special?
You could use the link, but if you go over to Rolling Dice Take Names website, you could do that, then click on that, and then go over there. What if you copy the link and then post that? That doesn't work.
Yes,
you got to go to our site first.
No,
it does?
It does work.
It does work.
That's why I posted in our show notes, because you always post in our show notes just miniaturemarket.com, and I got to go back and edit it to include our special link.
Well, you need to tell me these things. If you don't tell me, what am I going to do about it? If I don't know, how can I correct it? All right, I will correct that. Oh, it's like being married. All right, anyway. Right now on day 45, if you would get a free game with a $75 purchase over at Miniature Market. Now, one thing I do appreciate the markdowns to Christmas is you can't go back and see the ones that were previously there, because I would be very sad, because I'm sure I missed some great ads. So be sure to head over every day. Also, something that I don't know people know is that when you're over at Miniature Market, it's not just for the heavy games. Some of the classics are over there if you want to add them to your cart. Clue, Operations. There's even miniature travel games of that. I just saw the miniature Barrel Full of Monkeys. God, I hated playing that game. Barrel Full of Monkeys. That was such an irritating game. It's like Pickup Sticks. Hated that game too. But you may like it. I'm not judging either way. So head over to miniaturemarket.com. All right, it's been ever in a moon, or whatever that expression
ever
is.
Ever in a moon. It is not an expression.
What is that expression? It's
Lord,
been
I don't know.
Ever since.
You
I
mixed
forget.
like 6 metaphors together. I have no clue.
I don't either, obviously. All right, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've done one of these, and back in, I may have been 2023 since the last time we did these. It could have been 2024. We've been talking about games that you would want to do to start your collection. In the past, we've done, 5 games to start our collection, worker placement games, deck building games, and kind of to review this, let's just go over games to start our collection. Marty picked number 1, Arkham Horror LCG, and I had Carcassonne. Number 2, Arkham Horror board game, Ticket to Ride was me. Then we had Codenames for Marty and Just One, Imperial Settlers for Marty, Pillars of the Earth, and then Puerto Rico and 7 Wonders. Those were the games that Marty and I picked for games to start our collection. So we said, you know what? Let's go do another one. The holidays are coming up. Maybe people are going to try to start their collection again. Now, were there any special rules when we made these lists? I can't remember. It's been so long.
You're going to love this rule, Tony, because I think you've forgotten. We said we're going to be doing tile laying games. Our top 3 tile laying games that we need to start our collection, which means every game that we've already mentioned is already in our collection, so you can't duplicate.
Not duplicate. That is exactly right. And so
seeing as
we're
how
going to have to go back.
Seeing as how your number one game is Carcassonne, which happens to be a tile laying game, you can't use that one.
I can't use that one again.
Nope.
See, as soon as I was reading over this, I was like, I know we set that rule up. God. So let me get the pad out and scratch through a game real quick. Because I was like, oh man, this sucks because I'm going to have to change one up. That's all right. All right. So let's begin with our number threes, and I will let you go first. What's your number three?
There has been several versions of this game, and every time I've played it, I've really enjoyed it as a really slick tile-laying Euro. It started out as Tigris and Euphrates, and eventually went to Yellow and Yangtze, and then there's even another version out now called Huang, which is still in shrink, which I really want to try it. So I'll just go with the one I actually first experienced was Yellow and Yangtze. This is a Rhino Knizia game, tile-laying Euro game. I just like everything that works about it with laying tiles and adjacency and what it does to other things. So I don't get it to the table a lot, but if it was the only tile-laying game of my collection, then I would.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you that one. Now, I was able to, I had another one when I ready to go, and I was like, does this really count as a tile-laying game? And I think it does because, well, you're putting tiles. Matter of fact, that's the whole concept, and that is Azul. That is a tile-laying game. You're trying to build across the board, and it is probably one of the more strategic games that I have on my collection. I can't say that because there's a really great one coming up, but it is one of those faster teaching games. I really enjoyed it. We've just played it recently, and I forgot just how mean that game can be at times. So it's kind of fun from that standpoint of all the nice games that I have. And also everybody's like, oh, this is kind of a do your own thing game. No one's going to bother me. Oh no, you can really mess some people up. And I did do that by accident to my wife, and I paid for it later. But Azul is my number 3.
Well, you know what? I agree with you. Azul is my number 2. I think it's one of those fun kind of take that drafting games. And the tiles that you use are just so nice. It's one of those where the production of the game makes the game better. And those nice acrylic tiles are fun to play with. So yes, I agree with you on Azul. So much so, it's my number 2.
Well, my number 2 is a game that has bamboo and a panda. Takanako. That is one of our family's favorite games. It's one of Rebecca's favorite games, one of Donna's favorite games. I mean, if I go, which tile-laying game, if I say, you can't play Carcassonne tonight, which one would you like to play? She enjoys that game. She likes the strategy. She likes having to build up the bamboo. She likes the presence of that game on the table. Straightforward. It comes back to her fairly quickly. I like it just from the standpoint of the various actions that you have and some of the things you can do. Once again, there is more player interaction than what that I sometimes feel that you get from Carcassonne. So yes, that is my number 2.
Heading on to number 1, a classic Euro, potentially one of the best of all time, Castles of Burgundy.
I was wondering if that was going to be out there. That's not one of my favorites. Why is this one of your favorites?
I think when it comes to Stefan Feld games, this is probably one of the more approachable games. And there's just a lot of replayability in the game itself. And it's one of those games that I don't play that often, but every time I do, I go, it's just a good game. I have a good edition downstairs. I don't have the Uber, Awaken Realms or whichever one that came out with all the nice bits and stuff, but I do have a decent edition of it downstairs. So it's definitely on this list, one of the heavier style tile laying games. But yeah, Castles of Burgundy, which also ends up just being a classic game to have in my collection anyway.
Right. But Castles of Burgundy, isn't that with dice rolling?
Yes.
Okay. See, but there's mitigation. So that's allowable for you.
Yes.
I know how much you love games without mitigation. All right. Well, then my last classic tile laying game is Hiroshima Hex. Hey, I got a little bag pulling. I got a little tile laying out there. I got a little battle going on. It's 2-player. I wish I could play this more than we do. I just enjoy the armies. I wish I played it more so I could understand how the armies work, so that I could easily, if we ever see Ignacy again, I could beat him with some of these armies. I'm excited with the new expansions. He's always developing for that game. If you're looking for a good 2-player game that has the tile laying aspect, the strategy of tile laying, placement, I mean, it's even chess-like at times, I feel like, of which tile do I want to get rid of? Where do I want to place this? How do I defend my unit? Go online, give it a shot. Nirashima Hex is number 3 for me.
Number 1?
That's right, number 1 of the 3. Thank you. It's not number 3, it's number 1.
I am so jealous that I did not think of that I just added to our show notes the next one we'll do in the future, 2-player games, because I bet that game will end up on my list on that one.
That is so wrong. Now I got to take that one off. All right. So if you're interested in this, we'll have these posted over in the Discord for that, as well as listed as part of our blog to see which ones we recommend. And if you really paid attention and you want to see what other games we listed, just shoot us a note over in our Discord channel, and I'll be happy to list them over there.
And let us know in the Discord channel, in our show notes, or the episode channel, what are your favorite tile laying games?
ShopPortalGames.com. Head over there to get in those pre-orders. You heard us talk about some of the games recently. I mean, he's had a huge success at Essen. More importantly, he's got some of the best games marked down. Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition, $79. You can go over there and get that, or get the adventure book that just adds to it. Or let's say you need to buy that special someone like, Ben in our Discord, good friend of ours. He loves Robinson. There's the play mat for $25. Not a stocking stuffer, but that's a good one to add to somebody if you're like, I just need that one thing to finish them out. And they're a big gamer and they love Robinson. Or AI Space Puzzle, $23 over at Shop Portal Games. Pre-order now. You get an additional scenarios with that. And then he's got a Lost Leader over there, or at least that's what I'm calling it, because they've just released on Steam the Imperial Miners app. That's right. Go out there, beta test it, get it going. You know why he's doing this, Marty? Is so that he can sell the game more. You're going to love the app so much that you're going to want to buy the game so you can take it to game night and say, hey guys, look and see what I got here. Because we can't always be in front of that computer, because you need to be in front and have that face-to-face. So head over to shopportalgames.com for all your good gaming needs.
When we were at Gen Con, we got to see a preview of a game from Brotherwise Games called Mistborn, the deck building game. This is designed by John D. Clare, which we are huge fans of for games like Space Base, Ready, Set, Bet. So I was like, okay, wow, I like deck building games. I'm curious to see what he does with it. So Brotherwise sent us a copy of the game. We got to check it out. Now, before we even get started, Tony, I must say, I believe you're in the same boat I am. Neither one of us have read Mistborn. So what we cannot do is tell you how faithful this is to the book or the story. So we're going to be coming at this from strictly a gameplay perspective. I will say, after I got back from Gen Con, I did order the series, but I did not crack the book. I've heard they're amazing books. I still need to read them. So just know, if you're a big Mistborn fan, that aspect of it, well, we can't talk about.
And to be honest with you, I didn't even know they were books. So I let the hate mail roll in. I don't even know what they're about. So when you finish your read, and I tell you what, when you read it, why don't you read it out loud and put it on tape?
Put it on tape. Play, record, click, and I'll put it on a cassette for you. And now I will say, we're big fans of deck building games. So right off the bat, if you like deck building games, this out of the box is going to feel very standard. Everybody has the exact same 10 cards. 6 of those cards are going to be coins that on your turn you can use to buy cards from the market. There are 6 cards in the market. The 4 other cards are special action cards. At the end of your turn, you take all the cards you played, or those you didn't play, you put them in your discard pile. Any cards that you bought from the market go in your discard pile. Draw 5 new cards. If your draw pile is ever empty, shuffle your discard pile and continue drawing from there. So Tony, that part is the exact same as most deck building games, but the twist is how you activate the cards that you put in play.
That's right. Now everybody has a hero, and those heroes have hit points. Can we use the term hit points, or has that been copyrighted yet?
No, I think hit points are good.
You think hit points are good? So, the very first thing that someone said, and I don't play a lot of this, is, oh, this is Commander. And I'm like, it's what? Commander, where you're trying to knock each other out. Because you're always looking for, how do you win, right? Mm-hmm. How am I going to win this game? That's another thing. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But, on these cards, when you play these cards, some are very straightforward. You're going to get a coin when you play it. Other cards, you are going to have to activate them by spending metals to activate them. Everybody has the same metals: bronze, tin, silver, pewter, on and on and on. So when I play a pewter card, I must place my pewter token on top of it. I have burned that metal. Why can they not just use the same?
Here's the reason, because here's the thing
game?
Is this is going to be very thematic to the book. That's why we can't talk, because you kept saying, what does this term even mean? It's like, it's got to be used in the book somewhere. So burning, and I'm putting that in quotes, a metal is how you activate a card. So it's got to be thematic.
Yeah. So somebody's already yelling at me right now. I can hear him now. Go read the books and you'll understand. Right. You're right. Absolutely right. So you have to burn that metal. Okay. I've done that. That card is now activated. Now let's say it's early in the game. You can only burn one metal. But I play another card. Let's say I played pewter and now I'm going to play iron. Well, I can't activate that card because I can only burn one metal, but alas, there is a way to do that, and that is to flare the metal, and that is to turn it over to its dark side, because it was dark, it had a dark finish on it, turn it over, and now that one is activated. But 10 has been flared and out of play until I turn it back over, and the way I do that is when I play a 10 card, I can then use it to reactivate 10. I've resurrected 10. Refreshed it. I like resurrected, but okay. We've refreshed the card.
I don't know you resurrect metal.
I put the atoms back together. Okay, fine.
Another thing about the cards is these action cards are dual use cards. Yes, they have a way to be able to burn metal to activate the card, but on the side of the card, it also represents two different metals where you can then use the card to activate another card. So, for example, you talked about a 10 card. I have 2 10 cards in play. I use my 10 token to activate one card, and it's like, well, I don't have a token to activate the other one. Well, if you happen to have another card from your hand, 10, you can turn it to its side to indicate, I'm going to use this card as a 10 metal to activate this other card. So you can create this little engine with the types of metals that you have in order to do multiple actions on your turn. Now, as the game progresses, you have your player board, and there's a track on the board at the beginning of your turn. You increase a token on that track. As the game goes on, it will allow you to burn more metals each turn. So as you get different types of cards that are different types of metals, you can spend those tokens in order to activate those cards. Also, some of the cards you can buy from the market are allies. When those go into play, those are activated when you burn metal to activate other cards. So let's say I have a bronze card that I've activated and an ally that's bronze. It'll have text that says something like, if you've burned bronze this turn, get X. X could be additional attack. X could be some coins. X could be moving up on the mission cards. There are 3 random mission cards that are dealt at the beginning of the game, and everybody's token starts at the bottom of the card. There is a particular action that you can get from cards that allow you to move your tokens up on these mission cards. As you progress, you'll get things you'll go along depending on the mission. Someone gives you fights, someone gives you coins, and it's a race to the top of each of these 3 mission cards. So let's talk about, there's 2 ways you can win the game. One is to be the first to get to the top of every mission card. Once somebody does that, game over, they win. Or be the last person standing after every other hero's hit points have been knocked out.
Someone's getting ready to win on mission cards, you go after them. You try to knock them out. So can you target anybody? No, you may not target any particular hero. Only the hero that has the bullseye on them. And it's a little token that gets assigned.
It's actually called
after someone takes down.
Target.
Target.
And they're the actual target.
So, they're the target. So as soon as they are targeted, they will take damage. Now they may have an ally that's a defender, which will shed some of that damage. And then once at the end of the turn that they are now the target, and then it has to move to someone else that they pick. Now, you can go after everybody else's allies if you have enough damage to spread around. Like, I may not want to just target Marty's allies, even though he's the target. Maybe Bert has a ally over there that's really helping him out. I need to get rid of that guy. So I'll take him out, and then I'll go target the rest of my power over on to Marty. Now, this is one of the things I really liked, Marty, and I knew you were explaining it this way, but I kept talking about, if I have the target on me and it comes my turn, I have the target, and you kept using the King of Tokyo thing, and I do damage, everybody takes that damage if I have the target still on me.
Right.
I like that. I don't know how you feel about that. I like that concept.
No, I like
that strategy.
I like that too. And the thing is, though, is that after you're targeted and take damage, you don't have to pass the target if you don't want to. It's an option. You could just hold on to it and soak up a lot of damage with maybe a big turn coming, but that's very risky. Now, the thing about the target, Tony, that I did not care for was that in a 4-player game, a 3 or 4-player game, that's where my damage must be done. Because at the end of your turn, every card that was activated that has the damage symbol on it, you add it all up. And then you can divvy up that damage how you want between allies in front of any player. Mm-hmm. Anything that's left over must go towards the target. The problem that we ran into was sometimes I didn't want to attack. Let's say it's Bert that had the target. I don't want to attack Bert. I'd rather deal the damage to Nate because he's the closest to getting up the track for winning all 3 missions. I would rather deal damage to him. Now, Bert can say, hey, my turn is done. We do want to try to take out Nate. Here, Nate, you take the target. But then as soon as Nate takes any sort of damage, even just 1, he can pass it on. But let's say that damage I was getting ready to deal to Bert because I had the hero that made a lot of damage. Maybe I could have taken out Nate in that turn, and then he would have been out of the game. But I didn't have that option. That's kind of an issue I had with the whole targeting system.
But I think that's where the strategy comes in at times. All right. Is, how do I get it to that individual? Like for me, I had a healer that kept healing me up, and it was like, okay, how are we going to take out Tony? And it was like, well, as soon as I take the damage, I'm going to move that thing off me. Or maybe I could have, I knew it was my turn. I'm going to leave it in front of me so that I can do a lot of damage to y'all later on my turn. So I understand what you're saying. I really do. So it's one of those things that I'm just like, okay, I see good and I see evil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, just so you know, there are, every player has 8 different medals that they can use. I do think you want to specialize with certain medals because you want to make sure. So, for example, I have a lot, maybe I want to focus on tin and bronze, for example. And because I want to make sure there's a lot of those cards in my deck so I can play a lot of them, synergize off them, and have allies of those particular medals so they get activated a lot. One thing that we struggled with was when there's no cards of that type you're looking for in the market, poo. There are some cards with special abilities that may let you maybe refresh the market or discard one and draw another. So there might be ways to possibly get through the deck, but unless you have one of those abilities, you didn't have it. So lots of times I felt like, man, I really want this particular type of metal, and I could never just get it into the market, into my hand.
That's kind of standard in a lot of deck builders that do this kind of thing. But flip side, counterpoint, if you don't spend your money, you can turn 2 of them in to get a non-expiration money. You can get a credit card coin. It's a little coin that counts 2 of your money I didn't spend. I can may collect a single token that I can spend later. That I liked. Yep. I like that in the game. I kept forgetting to use it, but I did enjoy that. It's a way to, maybe there's this big 8-point card out there, 8 cost card. Let's just say instead of whittling down, why do I want to keep clogging up my hand with 2s and 3s? Card costs. Let's just, use that to get those coins. And eventually I'll be able to purchase those big cards. Okay. So, and as with all deck builders, there's a ramp up, as you get better and better cards, you're going to get those big plays at the end.
Yes.
Typical deck builder.
Yeah. So what is different, I guess I would say, about this deck builder is the way you activate cards. It's not just you play them, they're automatically activated. You must do something with the medals in order to activate them. There is a little bit of engine building between the cards you activate and the allies you have in play, especially if it's of the same metal type. So maybe you're going for a bunch of allies in front. That kind of reminds me a little bit of Star Realms, because some of the allies are defender, which means you can't be attacked or take any damage until that defender's gone. It's kind of like a starship in Star Realms that can block damage coming to you. So that has that same kind of feel to it. So I do like the allies. I do like the metal activation. You just got to get that synergy going. Probably one negative for me is 4 players is 90 minutes, and that's too long for this type of deck builder. 3 players would be shorter, but I'm honestly wondering if 2-player might be the sweet spot for this game for me, because it gets rid of the target. It's literally, I'm trying to take you out or win on missions. You know, I'm focused heavily on damaging you and blocking any damage from you and trying to go up the mission track. So I want to see how the 2-player version of this works, and it may be better for me, kind of like Star Realms. Star Realms is an amazing 2-player game, but it falls a little bit for me in 4-player.
Right. Yeah. I can understand that. And the only other thing I'm going to have, Brotherwise Games is known for their components. Empire's End, amazing components. Call to Adventure, incredible components. All right. So those cards that Mari talked about, the mission, you place cubes on there. They're not locked in. Somebody moves their cube, they bump your cube. This is a simple thing. I mean, the guy who designed this, you know, Mystic Veil, come on, he knows about inserting card sleeves and doing special things like that, right? Was it Mystic Veil? Yeah. But you give me a black marker and just let me check it up on the box. I can do that as well. I didn't need all these little cubes. I'm sorry. I know that's a nit, but it's one of those things that can just take away from a game.
So the player boards themselves are dual layered because you have a little token that you're moving up on a track. So what you're saying was you wish what would have been nice is if there were mission boards that were dual layered to put our tokens on so you can easily see what level they are on the mission. Because you're right, because the cards aren't that big and it's one of the little small cubes and you accidentally knock it. It's like, well, was I on level 2 or level 3? I don't remember, sort of deal.
Exactly. So deck builder, burning the elements. Yeah, that's new. Being able to combo cards, that's not new. How to buy the cards, the market, that's all not new. But if you're a big fan of Mistborn, hey, artwork's amazing. You might want to give this one a view. And I agree with Marty 100%. It stayed on the table way too long with 4 players. That's how I feel about Magic the Commander too. But anyway.
Magic the Commander.
Yeah, I know. But that's my impressions. What are your final thoughts?
I do like there's 2 ways to win. I do like the fact that it's either knocking other players out. So there is player elimination, y'all. You knock somebody out. If you're knocked out, and Tony was all excited about that, please knock me.
Yes, I was.
Tony loves player elimination. So there's player elimination, but there are 2 ways to win, with either shooting for the mission track or just trying to be uber powerful and take everybody else out. The thing with the 4-player and the target is sometimes there were people I wanted to go after, couldn't do it. So maybe you just have to strategically make sure, hey, give it to this target, to that person, because I got some big damage coming and I want to do that to them. Now, there is also another mode of play with this game, solo and co-op. In this variant of the game, you're going to set up a Lord Ruler deck, and the Lord Ruler is basically who you're going to be fighting against together as a unit or by yourself if you're playing solo. The game plays the exact same way, except that when you deal damage, you're going to try to be dealing damage to this Lord Ruler, which starts out with like a health of 48. And at the end of every player's turn, there's a deck of cards that's been set up for the Lord Ruler, and you draw the top card of that deck. It could be an Edict card, which basically over the course of the game makes him tougher. He deals damage back to you, etc. Or it could be an adversary card that plays in front of you that has some sort of negative effect. Then you'll have to deal damage to the adversary in order to get rid of that card. So you're working together to try to take his health down to 0 or make his deck run out of cards. But as a team, you'll lose if every character's health is knocked down to 0. So this provides another way to play in this game. If you don't care for the PvP, you can play together cooperatively. So I think that is really cool. Look, if you like the Mistborn series, I think you're going to be really getting into this with all the characters and everything. The art is really good. And if you don't know much about the series, and this is going to feel like a very typical deck builder style game, but having multiple modes with the PvP and co-op does add multiple ways to play and gives a lot of replayability. So this is Mistborn, the deck building game from Brotherwise Games. It's all about the holidays, y'all. That's why Gametoppers LLC is running a special Christmas spectacular sale from November 13th to December 22nd. Got several things on sale right here. First, let's kick it off with 15% off all accessories and premium game mats. Tony, I may need to go and invest in a game mat. I like the size game mat that you have on our game night. I would like something that size to have available to me, so I can get 15% off right now over at shop.gametoppersllc.com. Also, 15% off all mat and storage solutions, which is really nice. I have hanging on my door the irregular mat pack solution, where it has 5 different little small cases for my little 2-player game mats. And literally, I just go up there, rip one off because it's being held by Velcro, and go to the game store, come back, just stick it back up on the wall. So it's really nice. So 15% off all storage solutions, and you get $100 off leg kits when purchased with the Home or Watson game toppers. So if you want to take a regular game topper and turn it to a regular game table, you can do so with $100 off the leg kits. Again, this is the Christmas Spectacular Sale. All this is going on from November 13th to December 22nd at shop.gametoppersllc.com.
All right, as the grocery buyer here for the family, I love grocery shopping. Have you tried?
Wait a minute, pause. I have never met anybody that loves grocery shopping.
Oh, I love it.
Why?
Just going down and seeing everything and sitting there thinking, how can I use this? Oh, what's on sale now? Do we need this? Man, it's just so much fun going through the vegetable aisles. And every time I'm in the grocery store, and I'll admit I've been married for 32 years, I always think back to the classic Happy Days episode where Arthur Fonzarelli, the Fonz, is trying to teach Richie how to meet girls in a grocery store. For some odd reason, that has stuck for me for all these years, where he pushes the cart and rams into people. That was one of my classics. And the Food Network just did its grocery store, Food That Built America series, and they did grocery stores. And I learned all about grocery stores, like Kroger being the largest food chain in America, what prompted the grocery carts, and how we've come full circle on buying food. It's just amazing. Don't look at me like that.
Except in the South, we call them buggies.
Buggies, yes, instead of shopping carts. So, when grocery stores, before they were big, you went to mercantile stores, right?
Sure.
And you would give your list to the clerk, and he would pull things off the shelf for you, and then he would check you out. All right?
We've come full circle.
Exactly. They introduced shopping carts. The guy, his grocery store wasn't successful, but he patented shopping carts, and he had models come in and push them so people would use them.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
So they did that, and then people got used to that, and they were like, oh, okay, I can touch my own stuff. They didn't feel like they were stealing. That was the big thing. And so they were able to fill up their carts, and he discovered the bigger the cart, the more you put in, the more you spend. Continue with that, and now we're back to, I'm going to type in my list on a computer and send it in. Someone else is going to go squeeze my bananas. Okay, that didn't sound good.
Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. That's pretty wild. Yeah.
Oh, man. The things you learn on the History Channel. Love that show. Love all those shows that come out. But yes, Apple Jack Pop-Tarts were on clearance.
Clearance? Are they discontinuing them?
Yes, probably because first off, if you saw the box for Applejack Pop-Tarts, you think of the cereal, right?
Sure.
I never had Applejack cereal. I don't know what it tastes like.
Really? It doesn't taste like apples.
That's the exact opposite of the Pop-Tart. It tastes like an apple pie. I'm loving these things, and they're on clearance, so I'm not going to be able to get them anymore, but they do. Heat them up in the oven, and they're now a dessert Pop-Tart because they are like an apple pie.
So it's apple filling. See, I would really like that.
Yeah, so you'll be getting one at our next game night. I'll bring you some sleeves.
I would like to try an Applejack Pop-Tart. That sounds good.
Now, I will admit that there is holiday shopping going on. The turkeys are in the freezer section at 99 cents unless you spend $100.
99 cents? I assume that's per pound.
Per pound. So there you go. But you got to spend $100, which who can't spend $100 at a grocery store nowadays?
Really? Half a buggy's $100 nowadays. Geez.
Oh, man. Having done the grocery shopping for over the years, years I've been doing this. I have mental images of how it has changed over, for the past 15 years. It's the way things go. Things cost more.
What's stuck in my head is the fact that I was so used to, for years, a gallon of milk being $1.99. I mean, that was just kind of a standard and just stayed there forever. Right. Anyway.
Yeah, man, that ain't the cows will not let you squeeze their udders for less than $3.
You can't squeeze my teats for less than $1.99 per gallon. All right, so
that's right.
All right, so holiday season is coming up, and there's going to be a holiday shopping. You're hearing our ads have a lot of holiday shopping in them. We just wanted to mention real quick that our good friends over at Ewin Chair said you want to make sure to check out our Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales. That's going to come out right after this episode. Some big sales are going to be going on there. Tony and I are fans of their chairs. We're sitting in 2 of the chairs right now. Tony, I'm actually thinking about at work about asking for one. My current office chair is tearing up, and they buy us these like really expensive ones and ones I don't care for. I'd rather go to Ewin Racing, use our discount code of RDTN, get 30% off, and get my own chair and bring it in a nice high back chair with a pillowed cushion on the back, lumbar support at the bottom, adjustable arms. That's what I'm looking for. So I know a lot of people that have bought these chairs and have been happy with them. They've been on our Discord channel. They've told us about it. So they're having a big sale. So if they have stuff marked down, you should be able to roll our coupon code in there and get 30% off. Now, you can't double up on codes. So if they say, hey, buy this, use this code, get this amount off, you can only enter in one code at the cart. People ask about how that works. It's only one code, but know that we are at 30%. That is the highest markdown they give for any of their discount codes. Big sale, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So check them out.
Just to be clear, the Black Friday sale is going to be only 25% off. So you still save money by putting in the RDTN code. So recommend you do that, and it does not expire. So they've been hosting this forever, and we really do appreciate the support from Ewin Racing Chairs.
Yes.
They got gaming chairs and all that fun. Oh, my. And so, yeah, be sure to check all those big sales out. Like we said, Ewin. And you've heard our other ads. So be ready to spend some money. With that, I will like to say, keep rolling dice
and taking names. Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so over at buymeamoonpie.com. Any support would be greatly appreciated. Please join our Discord channel. We have a lot of fun over there. We talk every day about so many different things. And of course, you can always follow us on all the socials. We're kind of everywhere now at Dice and Names.
Last episode, I ranted about gas cans. And what is the big Discord topic?
What?
Cornbread.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This show is part of Poderation, the nerdy podcast network. From D&D and video games through to ancient history and books of all genres, we are a group of podcasts all about things you can nerd the heck out about. We are currently looking for new podcasts to join the network. So if you know someone who wants to take their nerdy podcast to the next level, send them to poderation.com to get in touch.